Get
With that.
straight into it. This is episode 5, right?
Yeah.
Episode 5, built to last.
Go to
Um,
last. Let's do it.
keep on going. We got a really special episode for me today. Means a lot. I got my brother on, Shelby. Uh, for those of you that don't know, Shelby played Division One baseball at the University of Pacific in Stockton. Went on to play professionally for 7, 8 years.
Yep.
Between affiliate ball and some independent ball. But overall, really good, successful career. Got some stuff coming up for him. We're gonna see how it goes, God willing. But yeah, let's get straight into it. So Shelby, why don't you kind of just say what's up, give us a little bit of your story, maybe just a little bit of what's going on with you right now, just so everybody's kind of in the loop and has a feel of
Yeah.
what's
Yeah. Yeah. So like you said, Crew's my little brother. So his pops basically raised me, stepped in and took me under his wing and supported me, gave me that father figure. But where I'm at right now, I'm back in Iowa. So got released this past week. And was thinking about stepping away from the game, but the more I slept on it, I think I still got some more in the tank. So I've been talking to a couple indie ball teams trying to get back out there. Um, Man, I've lived the highest of highs and the lowest of lows in this game, and it's you can't help but love it, but you can't help but hate it at the same time. Trying to stay on that plateau of not letting it get that high, not letting it get that low is one of the toughest things. I mean, that's just in life in general. But yeah, man, I got some more in the tank, and so hopefully, God willing, I get to get back out on that mound again soon.
100%. I think that's huge. I mean, everybody has a time where you're going to be told you can no longer do it anymore.
Yep.
And I mean, when it's been so much of your life, you're going to go until somebody tells you that, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's huge. And I think I really liked what you said about finding that plateau. I think me and JMO talked about it a little bit in a previous episode, but it's important to feel those highs and lows. Like you want to embrace them, feel them, but also being able to maintain level through all that because it's hard. It's hard when you're on this complete emotional roller coaster where 1 minute I feel like I'm over the moon, and the next minute I can't. Like you couldn't pick me up out of bed with a shovel,
Yeah.
right? So being able to find that plateau is huge. And kind of, I want you to break down getting released a little bit for us because I mean we don't know, we haven't played
Yeah.
professionally, um, and obviously no fun. Like nobody wants to get released. We all know that's a bad word. It's as
Yeah.
bad a word as you can hear, right?
Yeah.
But like how, not so much talking about how you got released, but more so talking about how you dealt with that. Obviously, you've been around it long enough. You've seen
Yeah.
guys in and out of locker rooms. So kind of just break down how you dealt with that and like why you're still willing to continue contributing to a game that left such a sour mouth in your taste at that time.
Yeah. So the first time I've been released twice now, actually three times. The first time was in Puerto Rico. I mean, I was hurt, so like I was kind of expecting it. So that one was kind of easy because I knew I was going back to a job with the Rockies the next spring training. So
Yeah.
that one wasn't too bad. The next one was rock bottom for me. Um, I went to double. I had the best spring training in 23 I've ever had. I was throwing the hardest I ever was, like consistently. Went to double A. You know, that's the level that if you can succeed in double A, you can be a big leaguer. So I had some success at the beginning of the year. Then some stuff happens, whatever. Then I get sent to rookie ball in Arizona to make some mechanical adjustments and some mental adjustments. And I just completely lost it, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing out there on the baseball field. I was a lost cause, and it was tinker here, tinker there. Let's try anything and everything. Let's throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. That one was hard though because that was my 6th year with the Rockies, so like I grew with all those guys. Like those were my brothers. Like those are the guys that are going to be the uncles to my kids, God willing,
Yeah.
one day. And so it was different, and you see a lot of those guys that are still in the organization, um, playing in the big leagues, even like, and you were better than them at one
Yeah.
point, or I was better. And
Yeah.
so it's hard to see, but it's like cool to see them succeed, but it's still like that, dang, what if
In the
thing.
back of your head for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I got released from there, man, and I was at rock bottom, and I had no idea what to do. Like I was lost, bro,
Yeah.
like bad. I came home and I was crying, like I was devastated, and called everybody in our family and let them know, and they all, are upset for me, and that doesn't make it easier
Hmm.
hearing them that they're upset for me,
Yeah.
but knowing that they're there and they care that much helps a lot. And I'm one of the lucky ones, bro. I got a rock as a wife, man. She held it down for me. I came home, she was like, "Why are you crying? Like it's gonna be all right. Like this
Mhm.
isn't the end of the world. Like." We have each other every day. We lay our head on the pillow. We get to wake up the next day. That's the greatest day in the world, or greatest day of your life.
Yeah.
And so it's having her really helped me. And I was ready to give up baseball. And she was like, just take 7, 8 weeks. She's like, we don't got it. It was summer for her. So she's a teacher. So man, we kicked it, bro. We were just living life and hanging
Big
out.
chilling.
Yeah.
Big
Big
chilling.
chill. And so it was honestly the reset that I needed in my life. And it saved me really.
Yeah.
And we got back out there, got back on the saddle. She convinced me to, and went back at it and found the love for the game again. And then this week happened, and
Yeah.
but I'm not at rock bottom right now. That's the cool thing,
Yeah.
though, bro. Like I'm good. I obviously really want to get back out there. Like I miss it already,
Hmm.
and but if I never play another game of baseball again, like knowing I know I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And kind of like just building on that, why you feel like you're not at rock bottom. I mean, if it were me, I think a big piece of that would knowing I had that rock of a foundation
yeah,
from the previous occurrence, right?
yeah,
Where you
yeah,
had said you hit rock bottom, but you had a ton of people you could reach out to. Like
yeah,
you said, you had Caitlin who you could go to. You knew she was going to be solid.
yeah,
So having that in the back of your head, kind of knowing that subconsciously, has to take a ton of weight off your shoulders.
yeah,
And then that and well, I guess we'll save faith for a little bit
yeah,
later, but
yeah.
we'll get in. I'm gonna let Tyler talk a little bit. Tyler, would you say your rock bottom was like this previous season with the injury? Like rock bottom as an athlete, would you say that was it, or was it a different time maybe?
That's a good question. I definitely think that could have been my rock bottom in terms
Mm,
of my career, because it was the one time where um, I was in the middle of a season, but I wasn't actually playing, and that was the first
yeah,
time that's ever happened to me. I've always been healthy, I've always been able to play. So not being able to play, like having a game that I love being taken away from me, it was something that was very challenging. So I would definitely say that that's my rock bottom. But
yeah,
I think throughout the experience, I was able to understand, like Shelby was saying, like I'm gonna be okay. Like if
hmm,
like okay, I'm hurt right now. I got to take some time, but at the end of the day, I know I'm gonna be okay, and I know I can, continue playing, or if not, I'll still be fine. So
for
But
sure.
what helped you get to that like that moment of realizing you're okay? Because you guys, both of you guys, are still young, man. Like I
Mhm.
didn't. If you would have told me at 21 that I was gonna miss a whole year and
right.
or whatever it was, however long you missed, like how what helped you get to that point?
Yeah, and I think that's where faith comes in,
Yeah,
sure, because um, my relationship definitely began to grow a lot more during that period of time.
mhm.
Because I was always questioning, trying to figure out, like, why God put me in a situation, like, why it was me that got hurt, why am I getting the sport taken away from me, and understanding that He's in control and understanding that, He knows what my future holds, it allowed me to, remain calm, remain steady, and understand that this process is in someone else's hands.
yeah,
That's sick. And then I guess kind of to build on that, or just like a side piece of the question, do you feel like you kind of understood? Like you can both answer this. We'll let Tyler go first because we were just talking about him. But would you say that it wasn't so bad because you understand that sports is just a chapter, or was it mostly because of those other things? Like how in I guess the hierarchy of things that helped you, how high was understanding that it's only a chapter in reference to all the other things, or was that kind of out the window and you're lucky enough to have a lot of other things you rely on, and that's what held you up?
I think that was like the number one thing, like understanding
Mm-hmm.
like that's just a chapter, that's just a phase, and understanding that I can still play. I have the opportunity to still go out there. I have another couple years of eligibility.
Yeah.
I get that granted back. It wasn't like it was gone, gone. But even if it was gone, I would have been okay because of my other factors that played into it, like my faith,
Yeah.
meaning that I'm more than just an athlete. But I would definitely say that understanding that it was just a season, it was just like another piece of adversity that I had to overcome. It allowed me to
Hmm.
relax. So.
And how old were you when you kind of understood that this is sports are just a chapter, like it's not everything?
Yeah, that's a good
Because I mean,
question.
not to cut you off, but I know like up until I was probably almost like 2 years ago, like 19, 20 years old, I felt like I was nothing besides a jersey, right?
Right.
And so I'm curious to hear when that kind of clicked for you.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think maybe closer to COVID around that
Okay.
time. And I say that because like I feel like I can speak for everyone as athletes. Like in an instant, like the sport, everyone's sports that that they were trying to play were just gone, and it was
Yeah.
like a lot of people spent a lot of their life that's playing that sport, and it being gone that fast or not being able to play it during that period of time was like, okay, what else am I gonna do? So that was one piece, and I feel like even though we did have a little bit of a season, it wasn't like
It
fuck
wasn't a
season. It
season.
wasn't. It
Yeah, I
wasn't.
know.
It
Yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even like spring, I feel like because that would happen in baseball, like during spring baseball lacrosse, because I had lacrosse season, that was gone.
Yeah.
So everyone in the
Yeah.
spring sport, I feel like they didn't have that whole year, and then
Yeah.
fall and then winter, everyone got affected by it. But it definitely was a moment of realization, that I feel like that time period allowed me to understand that like I can't take it for granted.
Hmm.
It could be gone in an instant. That and of course other stories where I hear athletes having like season career ending injuries where it's like
Yeah.
this can really be gone instantly. So that was definitely something that helped me out too.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. And Shelby, you guys were you in spring training already when COVID hit?
Yeah, we were like 10 days in and then they
Yeah,
sent us home.
that's
So
crazy.
yeah,
But
it was a tough time.
yeah, we'll kind of spin back when so like I asked Tyler, where does when did it click for you that you are this is only a chapter of your life, like baseball isn't everything? Because like for you, um I don't think you included this, but like you're in the Hall of Fame at the high school.
Yeah.
You were the guy, like you were the
Yeah.
poster boy of the school.
Yeah.
First sports draft pick since Aaron Judge at Linden, right?
Mhm.
Bunch of other things. So like everything. It's you didn't really hear Shelby Lackey without it being baseball or basketball or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So kind of when did that click for you where it's like this is only a chapter of what I'm doing, and also like where does it rank for you, like when you came to understanding with that, like where would you rank that and how it's helped you dealing with this recent release especially?
Yeah. See, I was a lot older than realizing it because, in pro
I
ball,
thought
like I had success early in pro ball and then like I got put in the top 25 prospects of the Rockies and all that
mm-hmm.
stuff. And I would realistically say I didn't realize it until this past off season.
Yeah.
Um, Getting married had a lot to do with that because you realize that it ain't just me now. Like
Yeah.
I'm starting my own family. Like
Mm-hmm.
whether it is just Caitlin and I forever or that's my family, you know what I'm saying? So I think realizing that, and then I really got more invested in my faith this off season. Like I started going to a men's group, like we went to,
Mm-hmm.
started going to church every Sunday. Like I started reading the Bible, and it's like you, the more I read the Bible, like the more you realize that nothing is said about sports in the Bible.
Yeah, he doesn't say baseball or
Nothing,
football in the
not a
Bible.
single time is it mentioned, bro. So it's like
Yeah.
I like sat back, I thought, and I'm like, dude, nobody cares about sports, bro. Nobody.
100%.
Like they talk about you when you're there, and they might talk about you a little bit a couple days, maybe a week or 2 weeks after, but
Yeah.
after that, oh, it's just you're just a person,
Yeah.
And it's like then you try to put a stamp on how good of a person you can be instead
Mm-hmm.
of like how good of an athlete I can be. You shift like I've shifted that focus of like I want to be the best husband I can be. I want to be the best brother I want to be the best son I can be. I want to be the best son-in-law. All these things, God willing, the best father I can be. Like, bro, once you realize those things, man, being an athlete ain't as cool as being a dad. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Like, I bet. Like seeing your
Yeah.
pops and getting to see what he does for us kids. Like,
Mm-hmm.
dude, we're on a yacht a yacht in Mexico for New
Yeah.
Year's Eve, bro. That's way cooler than having my name called
Yeah.
at a stadium, bro. Like he's
Yeah.
providing for his family. Like once you realize those things and like realize that God's gonna have you no matter what, bro. I wish I would have known that at 23
Yeah.
when I was having all the success and these accolades and all that stuff. Like it wouldn't have made like realistically, dude, my head got pretty big dealing with all that
Mhm.
stuff. Like I'd go home and I'm like, dude, I'm the guy. Nobody can
Yeah. I
stop
mean,
me.
it kind of has to. I mean,
And then you realize like, bro, I'm the guy of a 1,500 person town, dude. Like
yeah.
there's dudes that are Aaron Judge is the guy of 8 billion people on this earth, bro. He's one of the best baseball players. Like that, you can get a little bit of big head, but he
Yeah.
stays grounded, bro. Like it's crazy how once you realize that you just try to be the best person you can be.
Yeah.
It'll all work out.
Yeah. I think that's really important. Kind of understanding that we're all, like God created everyone equally. We're all
Yeah,
equally brothers and sisters in Christ, and I think that's huge, not just for ego, but also kind of being comfortable in your own skin, right? Like
yeah,
I'm not. There was a time where I was kind of like I would idolize a lot of people, or like I'd idolize a lot of things, and I wanted to be him, or I wanted to have that and this, but kind of understanding that God didn't put me on earth so that I can win an MVP, or God didn't put me on earth so I can drive the nicest car. No, God put me on earth so that I can be the best person like I can possibly be.
yeah,
And like you said, son, brother, um, all that stuff, right?
yeah,
So I think that is super important, and that could be one of the biggest aids in dealing with that rock bottom, right?
yeah,
Because we hit the floor, and a lot of times when you hit the floor, you're naturally going to feel like you're less. Like it's like you're looking at the rest of the world from the bottom up, right? Like I'm drowning at the bottom of this ocean, and everybody else has a life vest, but for some reason I'm the one drowning. Like no one's there for me, and maybe I don't deserve to be helped, right? We're kind of feeling sorry for ourselves and things like that. So I think it's really important to understand that you are worth so much more than whatever, like however many Ks you have, or however many tackles you have, or however
yeah,
many touchdowns you throw, things like that, right? Like that stuff. Nobody's gonna remember how many all pros you had in heaven. Like that, I promise you that doesn't matter. It's
yeah,
they're not writing that on your headstone when you pass. Like it's just all those things are cool, and I'm glad. Like I think it's really important to have passions. It's super important to have things that drive you, but you can't get so caught up, so tied up in those things that it ends up being an anchor rather than like a buoy, right?
yeah,
So I think that is super important. And I'm going to kind of touch on where my rock bottom was. And I think I can point to a multitude of things, right? For those of you that don't know, I've dealt with a lot of concussion problems, right? So I had, I don't know, like 6 concussions in 4 years or something like that. And my last straw was this past year. We were playing at Howard. I go to slide, get ear hold, thought I broke my jaw. Honestly, probably had another concussion. I mean, Tyler knows it's not too hard to talk yourself out of those things when you get in that tent.
Shouldn't be that way, but
Yeah, it shouldn't be that way, but if we're being honest, it's that's just how it is. And as a competitor, you're going to do whatever you can to get back on that field. And so I think I'll point to that most recent floor where I'm kind of sitting there and I'm thinking back on the game, and I'm like, oh well, I played pretty well, but is it worth it to play well? And I could look back on it, and like my parents will tell me I did a good job, but next year that won't even matter if I'm not there for my kids in 40 years, like if I'm not healthy, things like that. And that's a lot for a 20 20 year old kid to take in at the time, right? Like I've I loved football more than anything at one point in my life. Like that was literally my world. Um, and so to kind of have to sit back and understand that maybe this just isn't for me. Like this is, I mean, you keep stacking up. You see all the research. You see some previous players end up doing things like taking their own life or just acting out because they have so much underlying issues that are going on, and a lot of it involves that head trauma. Um, it's a lot to take in. They said Aaron Hernandez's brain when he passed was actually regressing. It was shrinking in size. If he hadn't killed himself, he would have been dead within the next 10 years just from blunt head trauma. He was 31 years old. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
And I see that and it's like, well, I have two options. I can keep playing and hope that nothing happens, or I can choose myself and understand that there's something greater greater for me out there besides football. And ultimately that was a decision I made. I decided that God has significantly bigger plans than me than seeing how far I can throw a football or seeing if I can read a coverage well and things like that. And I think that once I came to understand that, I've been very content with that decision. There's days that are harder than others. And I mean, Shelby knows, Tyler knows, you're in a locker room. I don't know how many guys you guys have in a locker room, Shelby, maybe 40, 45 guys at the most. But we're in a locker room with 140, 150 guys that we're around every day. And I went from that to, I was actually living with Shelby. There was, four of us in the house.
Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, it's not the same, right? Not that there's anything wrong with having a small circle, but going from like literally feeling like you have somebody that is there for you at every single second of every single hour because you just can't get away from everybody. There's not enough room. To having that like isolation, it's hard. It's a lot, but it's not the end of the world because there's, like I said, I'm 21 years old. There's still so much left for me out there. And a huge reason for that is faith. And I kind of touched on it earlier with God having a greater plan for us and just kind of making us, he placed us here just to be the best you can be. Our high school slogan was be who you are and be that well at St. Mary's. And I think that that's something I've carried with me. I don't think I'll ever forget it. I didn't love all the stuff that went on at St. Mary's, but that be who you are and be that well is huge. Just embrace who God made you to be and do it the best you can, right? And I think that's really all we can do. And that is we kind of talked about buoys and anchors, but that's about as big a buoy as you can have. That's a life raft that will never deflate. It'll never pop because it's always there, right? And I'd like for you guys to kind of touch on like that faith and how kind of the consistency and the growth of your relationship with God and how that has been. I don't know if it's your guys' biggest buoy. I know it's mine, but kind of talk about how significantly that has changed. We'll start with Shelby, but talk about how just God lifts you up on days where maybe you feel like you don't even deserve to like go out and try to do what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, first couple years of pro ball, like I would go to chapel on Sundays, but I heard the word, but I didn't really live by it. You know what I'm saying? So the first couple years, like I would go out partying, do whatever. Like I was really just having fun. And it was like, I was succeeding. It was ebbs and flows. Like it was a big up and down, like on the field. And so I always felt like, I don't know how to say it. I always just felt like I was meant to be there because I was better than everybody.
Yeah.
But deep down, I don't think I truly believed it. I like faked it till I made it. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like whether I don't know how I'm trying to say it, but like now that I'm in my faith and believe it, like when I go out there, man, I'm playing for something that's bigger than just myself. Like, like on my glove, I have, so 2 years ago when I was searching, man, I was searching hard for just something to live by. And so I was reading the Bible, and actually the only Bible verse that said 365 times in the Bible is do not be afraid. And so I got that on my glove, and I try to live by it. I don't always show it, and I don't always do it. Sometimes I go out there, dude, and I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I'm sitting in the bullpen. I have a day where it's like I'm not feeling right mentally, physically, and I'm like, please don't call my name, man, please. Or it's like raining and cold, bro. It's like every day, I just wanted all these perfect conditions. You know what I'm saying? And it's like now that I'm like took a step back and I'm technically out of the game, Like that's the part that eats at me the most. And I wish I would have just lived by that quote a little bit more each day. But I think like I can take that quote into everything in life now that comes at me. Like,
Yeah.
because just because I'm out of baseball doesn't mean there's not gonna be any lows in my life. Like, stuff happens to everybody every single day, and it's like now I can really take it and own that. Do not be afraid,
Hmm.
and truly invest in my relationship with God every single day.
Yeah.
Um, and so, man, I I feel like now, like that I'm out of it, out of the game. Like now, I feel like I belong in it again, and that's
Yeah.
unfortunate that I'm finding out late in a sense. But I still have time to get back in. But
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Just relying on God right now is going to be the biggest thing for me to get me through these next week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, and whether I get back in the game or not. Just really living, do not be afraid, and owning it, bro. Just
Yeah.
getting back to
Kind
that mentality that I had like before I even invested myself in faith. I was not afraid of anything. Like your dad talks
of,
about all the time. He's like, bro,
yeah.
you were arrogant, bro, out on the mound. I hated you. He's like, I hated it so much, but it was so fun to watch.
Yeah.
He was like, you just had this cockiness to you, and then it just went away. And he was like, I don't know when it went away. And like I kind of feel like I know when it went away. Back in 2022, like
Hmm.
I was dealing with coaches and stuff, and I just let a bunch of outside noise take over rather than keeping like the faith the center of it all and
Yeah.
realizing that nobody's opinions matter other than when you get to those pearly gates. That's the only opinion that matters in life.
Yeah.
Is when you take your last breath, bro, and you go to those pearly gates, that stamp of approval or denial is the only thing that matters.
Yeah. What are they gonna say on Judgment Day? That's it.
Yeah, yeah, bro, and it's hard to realize that. Um, but I let so many outside noise, and I let coaches tell me this, that. I let players. If a player was playing good and I wasn't, I was comparing myself. Like I don't know, man. I just wish I was just not afraid, so afraid of all the outside noise that it affected me so much internally.
Yeah. There was a couple really good things I want to talk about before we get to Tyler, but I think kind of what you said, like it sounds like early on maybe you had just accepted that God was there, like
Yeah,
there was there was something greater than you. But once you came to terms with you have to embrace it, you have to live it, it has to be in you.
yeah,
They talk about that. Like Christians will talk about that and like how your baptism and stuff. But like once you truly receive God, like that Holy Spirit is in you and it never leaves. Um, and I think once you fully embrace God and you understand that like He is literally in you and He has you every step of the way, good, bad, and different. He's there. And who am I to say that it's bad that um like I couldn't play anymore? Or who are you to say that it's bad that you got cut? Maybe he's just setting something up that's greater. Like
Mhm.
you don't know.
Yeah.
You're doing this the first time. He's been around for dang near
yeah,
forever,
yeah,
right? Like he
yeah,
created this. So I think kind of embracing that and understanding that God is in you in every step you take, that is it's everything, right? And it'll help you get through your worst of times and in your best of times, you'll be able to be grateful because you understand that it's His work in place, right?
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I'm really glad that you shared that and that your faith has grown and that you understand that. I think like I see it. I think everybody sees it probably in you and just the way you've grown. It's really special actually. Like I always looked up to you, but um, in like I would say our relationship with God, we've kind of grown at similar times, right? We're kind of
yeah,
like maybe sometimes you're a little further out in front of me and sometimes I'm a little further out in front of you, right?
yeah,
And I think having somebody so close to you that you're growing with, even if it's from such a far distance, it's
yeah.
important. And that's why God created us as brothers and sisters in Christ.
Mhm.
Um, like we're all doing this together and it's important to have people that you're doing it with. It's super you're never doing it alone because God's always there. But having another brother or sister in Christ to do it with is it's special and it makes it a lot easier for sure. So we'll get to Tyler now. Tyler, kind of how would you say your ups and downs have been depending on where your relationship was at with God, and like when you would you say you're at like you're as close to God now as you've ever been?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely.
Okay, and now kind of so if that's the case, once you explain that kind of up and down of your faith walk, kind of give us like just explain how different it is now that you feel so close, like your relationship has gotten so good.
Gotcha. And how much it's impacted me. I've kind of thought about different things in life that are like that come and go because there's a lot of things that come and go, and there's nothing that's really firm. There's nothing that
Hmm.
stays a while. Like a lot of the material things, like money, like cars, all that, they come and go, and it's like you can't really get comfortable. But there is one thing that like is always constant, and it's faith. And that's something that's like really important because when you don't feel motivated, you don't feel like you're yourself, the one thing you can look to is your faith. You can look to God, you can look to Him because He's always there, He's always constant. And there's a song that I always listen to. It's called Constant, actually, by Maverick City and Chandler Moore. And there's a lyric in the song that says, "Always by my side, even though my doubts are respond or even through my doubts." And then it says responding, and it says, "You're constant, you're constant." So understanding that God's constant, understanding that He's always there, has definitely helped me out. And I think being more consistent in my faith and continuously practicing certain things and like worshiping, going to church, having talks about certain things I'm experiencing or just the word, that's definitely been something that's very beneficial. Even Shelby, when you said what you look back to about the fear and stuff like that. There's
Hmm.
also like I have kind of like a little small ritual I did. I kind of started last year, and I didn't do every game,
Yeah.
but I did it some of the games where I felt like I needed to rely on him. But I wrote on my wrist tape "Faith over Fear,"
Hmm.
and that was something that helped me out a lot. Um, Even because as athletes and as competitors, it's like naturally to like just you have the butterflies, you have fear. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I can't mess up. You know, there's certain things that go on that's going on, and you're afraid to just accomplish anything you're going through. So having that understanding that your faith is bigger than your fear, you know, you shouldn't really fear anything because you have someone who's in your corner. That's really important. So,
Yeah, I'm glad that you also said like how natural fear really is for athletes too. I think a lot of times everybody's trying to play tough guy, like no, I'm not worried. It's just another game. That's that's not true. That's blasphemy. I feel like every time I touched the field, I was nervous. It was never a game. Even if we were playing like the most sorry team, it was like, no, I'm nervous, especially if I play bad against them. I'm gonna look terrible, right? So I think, and a lot of that has to do with expectations, but I think just in general, like as human beings, we're gonna have fear, whether, and it's not just as athletes. It's providing for your family, like passing classes, doing well in your job, and that's just I think a lot of it is just being a man, right? Society generally, you have a lot of tasks on you as a man to accomplish certain things, so you're gonna have a little bit of fear there, but don't let your fear be greater than your faith. That is something that I think we can all live by, and that is like we were talking about. That's that buoy, and I think I don't know how you keep doing it with the quotes, but that is like one of the best things we've said so far. That is like ultimately that is like that's my biggest buoy. Like you said, that's his buoy. Shelby said like in different words that that's his buoy, right? So
For me, I think like talking about fear and like making it, I mean, known that everybody has it. Like I've gotten to train or play with some of the highest level guys in the game of baseball.
yeah,
I've been around some dudes and like you talk to them and you're like, dude, do you ever get scared? Like, bro, I was getting scared in front of 5,000 people in a high A baseball game. These guys are playing in front of 45,000 people with cities, thousands, millions of people that are fans, like relying on this guy. I'm like, how do you do it? Like, you get nervous when you go out there, and everybody says, yeah, dude. Like, what? You're not human if you don't get nervous
yeah,
or if you don't have that fear. But it's like using that fear as fire or
mm-hmm.
fuel
mhm.
rather than a crutch.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I think that's what separates the greatest athletes from like the mediocre ones, or like the mediocre ones from the ones that don't make it as far as they should,
Mhm.
is using that, like those butterflies, bro. Everybody gets them. Like
mm-hmm.
it's not just you, and that's realizing that you're not the only one is also the next biggest step. That, we talked about not being alone
Yeah.
because we have God, but there's like feelings that you feel that nobody else has.
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, dude, we are all built the same we're all built from the same cloth.
Yeah.
We're all built from God's cloth, and it's realizing that I'm not alone in the aspect of my feelings. Like, and once you realize that, like, it's going to help you out a lot.
100%. And that kind of ties back earlier to what I was saying about embracing, because you talked about that plateau through the highs and
Mm-hmm.
lows, but also embracing that. You have to feel the highs and you have to feel the lows just to understand what that's like.
Yeah.
And the second you try to completely turn off all your feelings, turn off your emotions, for one, you're hard to be around. For
Mm-hmm.
two, people are going to stop trying to help you. And for three, you're not going to be able to help yourself because you're just
Yeah.
going to end up being lost, right? So it's
Yeah.
important to embrace those feelings and understand that every single person has them. Like for you and for me now, as pitchers, the guy in the box is just as nervous as you are, probably.
Yeah. Probably more.
If I had 98 coming at me, I'd be scared. Like you
Yeah.
couldn't
You got
pay
a
me to
weapon.
step in that
You got a
box,
literal weapon, bro.
literally.
You
And
got a
Tyler,
weapon.
like, I'm sure when you see somebody coming down like through a hole, like, oh shoot, I got to make this play. I got to make this play.
Right.
Well, I promise that guy doesn't want to get hit either, right? So,
Both
like,
ways.
just having that understanding of everybody, there's a mental side of the game for everybody. Whether it's bigger for some people and it's smaller for others, but everybody has it.
Yeah.
And so the next piece I'd kind of like to transition into is how you dealt with that rock bottom piece that where you felt like you had hit the floor, and how you were able to kind of bounce back from that, and whether that generated into like a fire for you, something that you just learned to embrace, or something you're still dealing with. I kind of would like to pick both your brains about how that went, and I'm gonna start with Tyler this time actually, just because you're like we were just talking about before you got on, Shelby. But Tyler, it's been what, 6 months since you got hurt,
Yeah.
and he's going into a meeting actually right before this gets released, and we're gonna know whether or not he's gonna get cleared. He should get cleared, God willing,
Yeah.
which is huge. Got camp around the corner, so kind of just let us know how you're gonna deal with this. Like I know, like your feet are probably like they feel like they're on fire. You got fire in your belly. You're ready to go. Especially like transferring to shoe. You haven't really got to show everybody what you're about yet in the game, and now it's like, well, you have, but you weren't fully healthy, right? So now it's like you probably I'm gonna let you explain it. Just go ahead, kind of tell us how you're feeling, what that's like.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think in terms of how I'm feeling and how I was able to deal with it, I've had like a lot of different pieces of adversity to overcome throughout my life, and I think I was able to use those experiences to help me um, continue on with whatever I was going through in terms of my injury, and it's definitely helped me out. Stay level and stay motivated in what my goals are and what I want to accomplish. But I'm definitely excited to get back out because, like you said, I haven't been able to showcase myself in a way that I wanted to, my full healthy capacity, and being able to now understand I have gone through this tough process. I put all the work into repair my shoulder, trying to do everything. I'm doing all the right things I can do on and off the field. It's definitely a full circle moment, and I'm praying and hoping that I can be cleared because this year will definitely be transformational.
Yeah, and like what I mean, you probably like I I mean, I'm fired up for you. Like I got a little adrenaline just thinking about it. But so would you say that it was more of like a fire lit under you? Was it something like you kind of just embraced and worked through, or like how would you describe it? Like if you had to pick one of those two.
Yeah, I mean, I feel as though that's a good question. Like, I would say definitely a fire lit from underneath me, like trying to
Yeah.
propel me. But the same way, I wouldn't use fire as that specific word, only because I feel like that's more of an aggressive way to attack
Mhm.
it. And with my injury, I kind of almost had to slow the whole process down,
Yeah.
slow everything down. So although it did propel me and make me like even more motivated because I couldn't do like the thing that I wanted to that things that I've loved and have put so much time into, I had to take it step by step. I had to understand that it is a slow process. I
Hmm.
can't rush the process or else I'll be pushed back. So it's kind of like the a different perspective on that. But yeah, it's definitely it's definitely something that I'm super
Yeah,
about.
running the turtle race almost at that finish line, bro. That's huge. I'm super proud of you. I know it's hard when like it feels like like you just keep getting hit over and over. Um, and you've worked through it really well. You got a big season ahead. And like I said, I'm proud of you, bro. That's
Appreciate
awesome.
you, bro.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we'll spin it over to Shelby. Like we'll talk about that rock bottom when you got released from the Rockies and kind of like what that did to you mentally and how you kind of bounced back from that. Whether that like I said, lit a fire under you. It was something you just turned it into a learning experience. If it's something you embraced and you were like, well, I'm gonna go out and do this differently next time, or like just go ahead and kind of explain that.
Yeah, I think getting released, like it wasn't even like career wise that was rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But I think like so I've dealt with a couple injuries too.
Yeah.
Partially broke my back in 2019, and then 2021 after I'm going to spring training, throw really well and think I'm going to go to double A, and then I go to high A, have success early, partially tear my lat, and it's just like you talk about slowing it down coming out of an injury.
Mhm.
It's like sometimes it almost feels like an injury can be a blessing because you are so balls to the wall, and it teaches you to take a step back and really admire the game rather than just be like a player,
Mhm.
like you're just there. Um, but and it also gives you a little structure because during that time you got to do all the rehab work, the
Mm-hmm.
physical therapy, and it's like, all right, now you take that injury and you take everything you learned during that time and you add it to your everyday routines. It helps you in that sense, and mentally realizing that it's not always a bad thing. I mean, it sucks getting injured. Everybody hates it, dude. Like
Yeah.
having to step away from the game's miserable. But switching your mindset from like why me of like how can I use this now to benefit me 6 months down the road when you guys are, you know, I don't know who you open up with this next year, but 4 or 5 months down the road where it's week one
Right.
and you're playing a school and it's trench time, bro. You're in the trenches, bro. You're going after it, you know?
Yes, sir.
Um, but it's so going back to getting released though, I just want to talk about that
Yeah.
part of
No.
injuries.
Yeah.
But going back to the release aspect of it, and I don't know, man, I used it to realize that baseball isn't everything. And that's what I've tried to take away from it. Like realize that I am a human being and failure is going to come in life and it's going to be okay. Um, Man, if you would have told me in May of 2022, after I had the 2021 and get released, all that stuff, that I would be this happy in life, like outside of baseball, I'd be like, dude, you're crazy. There's no
Yeah.
happiness outside of baseball. There's not like, what am I to live for outside of baseball?
Mm-hmm.
And, since then I've found the love of my life. I've gotten way more involved in in my faith. I'm closer to my family. Like it helped me realize that there's more outside of it. And I wish, I don't know, it's hard to talk because like I still had so much fear on the field and
Yeah.
it sucks. I wish I could just like wash all that fear away and just have played baseball the last year and a half. Um, but it is what it is, and I'm still writing my story. And
Mm-hmm.
I know Cruz doesn't listen to country music, and I don't know if you do, JMO, but there's a song called Chapters, and it's by Brett Young and Gavin DeGraw. Give it
Chapters.
a listen, bro. It's not your cup of tea, but it talks about how like he gets injured from Ole Miss
Okay.
and his life. He's like, my life's over, and then it's just like, nah. It's he gets married, he has kids, now he's a singer songwriter. Like, there's always something bigger
Yeah.
in the next chapter of life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not you don't ever have to be stagnant worrying if you believe in your faith that God's going to take you and make something greater from the previous chapter to the next chapter.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I think being able to take your foot off the gas a little bit and just enjoy the view, like see
Yeah.
where you're going.
And I'm still scared as hell, bro.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
so scared of the
I'm
next
scared
chapter,
for
but
you.
it's like, bro, it's because I don't know what's next. No,
Yeah,
nobody like Caitlin's like, we're gonna be all right, we're gonna be all right, and I'm like, how the heck do you know that? Like just hearing like it's gonna be all right,
yeah,
and then like you take a step back and you're like, God's got me, we're good.
yeah.
But in the moment when people are telling you like, dude, you're all right, like it's gonna be okay, and you're like, you just want to like, dude, shut up,
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
you
it's the
don't
no,
last
want to hear
bro,
any of
I
that.
hear.
I
Yeah,
Yeah,
got plans, bro, I got my plans, and then it's like,
yeah.
nah, bro, my plans don't mean,
God's got the plan.
yeah, bro,
no,
my plans don't mean anything.
100%. Um, definitely. I can't remember if we talked about it on here, if I had this conversation with somebody else, but understanding that every time God takes something, He's going to give you at least something equivalent back.
Mhm.
Like when He takes, He gives, and it just depends on how you're looking at that and understanding that our life has so many different chapters that you've already lived and you probably haven't even gone back and acknowledged because you were so caught up in everything that was going on, right? Like I know I'm guilty of it. There's a lot of like I have so many stories that I don't like. I wouldn't remember unless somebody talked to me about them, and it's like I'm I'm a little bit regretful of that I didn't stop and smell the flowers while they were there, right? But just understanding, like take your foot off the gas a little bit, look around, get in the slow lane, enjoy the view. Maybe there's a river out there or something, right? Just slow down, take some pictures, enjoy what's going on because life life is long and there's so many chapters, but it is those chapters are too short and they fly by. Like it's you only get those moments one time, and so just appreciate it, soak it up, and don't lose so much time looking 40 years out in front of you when you have everything laid out right in front of you. I saw something the other day. It said, like I have everything that I prayed about right now, but I'm still looking like I'm not appreciative of it because I'm looking for something else.
Mhm.
And it's like, dude, everything you wanted is right on the table in front of you. I mean, I know like there was a point where I was exactly where I asked to be, and I couldn't have been less happy. Like I had prayed for everything. I got everything I wanted, and I was completely unhappy because I got caught up in thinking about everything else. I wanted so much more than what it was that I had prayed for that I couldn't even appreciate what I had.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that probably not only athletes but most humans are guilty of. We get so caught up checking our mirrors, looking around, seeing what's so far out in front of us that I missed the deer that's been sitting right out in front of me for the last 100 yards, and now I hit it. Like, right? So yeah, just appreciate where you're at and understand that everything. There's a reason that everything's happening. Tyler, there's a reason you got hurt. You, like you said, your faith grew. You've grown as a person. Shelby, when you got released, you, like you said, you've grown more. I mean, you didn't say this exactly, but I kind of understand. The people around you probably understand. You've grown more in the last 2 years than you had in your first however many years of life, 25 years of life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like we can appreciate these things that happened to us that felt so terrible at the time because without that we wouldn't be who we are now. That was a big thing for me walking away from football was one thing from like I've had stuck in the back of my head that I can't get out that I'm trying to get out. It's like I have to go be somebody in baseball because I walked away from football. Like or else it's just gonna look bad. But at the end of the day, I don't owe anybody nothing besides just being a good person. Like I just have to be who I am and whether I'm in between the chalk, in between the lines, I have a helmet on. If I wanted to go pick up badminton tomorrow, I don't think I could do it. But if I wanted to, it would have no impact on 99% of my interactions. So I think having that understanding and understanding that you're rock bottom as an athlete, it's irrelevant really in life. But it's irrelevant in a sense that it's not going to break you, and it can only you can only grow from there. but I think that's your rock bottom in life too. It's important to feel that and understand what's going on, but there's a reason God put you there, and you're going to continue to grow. You're going to continue to learn from it. And I don't know. I think as humans, we grow most in times of struggle. Like you don't. I don't know. When I got everything I wanted, I wasn't growing at all. Pregnant. I'd probably fallen back actually when I was exactly where I wanted to be. And so, understanding in those times of struggle, like now it's time. Like it's time to go. Like I gotta recognize who I am. I gotta recognize what I'm feeling. I gotta recognize what's going on and build from there. Um,
So you talk about the struggles and like we talked about the highs and lows. For me, I have one question for you too. Do you think it's more because obviously it's you want to be faithful and present in
mhm.
your faith at all times, but it's just in all reality, it's just sometimes it's just you aren't like
Yeah.
you struggle with it. But it's do you think it's easier to be easier or more important? You pick to be more involved in your faith in the highs or the lows.
Oh my gosh. Did we talk
That's a
about
great
this last
question.
week, Tyler? Where
Yeah,
it's
we
like,
did.
dude, if anytime when there's problems, you're gonna be on your knees
Yeah, begging.
tenfold more than when you're not, right? Like
Yeah,
every time I need, like if you need something, you're asking somebody for something. If I don't
yeah,
need it, like I think that's the easiest thing to relate it to. Like if I need money, either I have to go get it or I'm gonna ask somebody for money.
yeah.
If I don't need money, I'm not gonna talk about money because I don't need it,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So I think like you said, your faith grew most at rock bottom.
Yeah.
JMO, I think you said, I mean, I don't know if you grew most, but you're at your best point with God when you hit that rock bottom. Right now, I'm as good as I've ever been with God. I'm not gonna say like I'm never gonna say I'm the perfect Christian, but me and God are locked in right now. Like that's my guy. I pray every
Yeah.
day. Like if I'm driving, I'll sit there and have a conversation. People probably think I'm insane, but I'll sit there and I'll just talk to him and just like even if I'm just saying what's up, like I'm grateful for what's going on. I'm glad that you
Yeah.
put me where I'm at. But I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't hit that rock bottom. Like when I was living with you,
Hmm.
I was reading the Bible a lot.
Hmm.
And that was a lot of that was just because I didn't know what was going to happen to me. Like I felt I was on, I was in a completely new journey, trying to find a new path, trying to find myself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say, I would, it's never more or less important to talk to God. I don't think. I
Mhm.
think that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Other people might have other opinions, but I think there's never a situation where it's more or less important. But I think it is substantially easier to go to God when things are bad
Yeah.
and trying to find that consistency where even if it's just like, hey, God, thank you for waking me up. Hey, God, thank you for getting me this job. Hey, God, thank you for blessing me with this food. Like when you start counting little blessings, oh, your life is going to bloom.
Yeah.
Sunshines, rainbows, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
man. You're going down the rainbow road. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. You're going to
Yeah.
feel it's important to embrace everything you're feeling, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. Um, but yeah, I think definitely easier. Tyler, if you want to answer it too,
Yeah.
and Shelby, we can round it back to you as well.
Yeah.
I think it's probably easier for people to pray and worship when you're at your lowest, like when you're at rock bottom and you don't know where to go, because you know he's gonna be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that's the best way to think about it, but I just feel like that's the easiest way for people to do that. But I also think it's important to also praise and worship and stay strong in your faith when you're at your high too.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't forget that he's the one who got you there, you know? A lot of people forget that. A lot of people forget that, okay, I was at a low one point and I was praying, I was, worshiping all that. And then now I've achieved what I wanted to, and I got everything I prayed for, and now all of a sudden I forget, and
Yeah.
I'm not thanking him, I'm not praying, praying and being thankful. So I think it goes both ways for sure.
Would you
Yeah.
say that it's like more or less important,
I I
or
say
is it just
I don't know if
easier?
it's more or less important at either way. I think it's important for both highs and lows, but I
Mm-hmm.
think, I see a lot more. I'm not one to judge. I don't want
Yeah.
to, but I'm just saying I feel as though I see a lot more when people are at their low and sometimes forget when they're at their highs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, you hear all the stories of like God saved me, Jesus saved, all these things. And it's like he saves you when you're at your lowest. Like you rarely hear of like, dude, I got the job of my dreams. I got all the money.
Mhm.
I got the wife. I got the healthy kids. Man, let's go to church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, bro, you don't hear that very often, maybe
Mhm.
ever. But for me, it was like, it feels like it's so much easier to go to him when I need him rather
Mhm.
than like everything's good and I'm still talking to him.
Yeah.
Like when I got baptized back in 2019, that was the year I'd partially fractured my back, got addicted to like taking pills, and I lost like 35 pounds, man. And I was like, I looked in the mirror one day, I'm like, dude, who is that guy?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I need someone to snap this guy back into shape.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I found God that year and really found him. I mean, I used to go to
Yeah.
church like every now and then, like in college or
Accept
whatever.
it instead of
Yeah,
embrace.
except yeah. And so it was like, I don't know, and then like when I was at my lowest, but like now I'm trying to work on, hey, life's good. I still want to talk. I'm still here to talk to you, God.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going
100%.
anywhere. I'm not going anywhere, and I know
Yeah.
you aren't. So let's talk.
Yeah.
Let's have some convos.
I
And
think that's
it's
important. Understanding that like that phone line, it never turns off. You
yeah,
hear it's like,
that's
I mean, it's Santa. You hear, he sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when
yeah,
you're awake.
yeah,
That's God. I mean,
yeah.
he,
And
he hears
it's
everything you
it's
say.
easier to do that kind of stuff like when you're surrounded by like faith-based people. So like
Hmm.
I don't know how it is in football. I've never played football or I mean I played basketball, but like in professional baseball, I feel like there are a lot of faith-based people. Like our Sunday chapels, there's like a good amount of guys there,
Hmm.
and it's it's easier to be faithful when you're around faithful people.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
when you surround yourself around, I mean it's just the saying, you are who you're around.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that also plays a factor in the highs and lows, and
Hmm.
if you're still talking to God, like, and it doesn't even always have to be like conversations like directly to him, dude. It could be like, hey, I'm struggling. My buddy who I'm playing with, he's like, hey, bro, you good? Checking in. Like, yeah, that could be God talking through him to you.
Oh yeah.
You never know what we talked about for the phone line. You never know what phone call is going to be talked through. Like
Hmm.
who? Like it could be through. I go home one night and Caitlin's like, hey, checking in. What's going on?
Mhm.
It could be with pops. It's
Hmm.
God talks to people, through people, for you all the time, bro, because
Hmm.
he's the it's a football term, but like the Rose Bowl, but he's the granddaddy of them all, bro. Like
Yeah.
he's it, man.
Yeah.
He's the hierarchy. There's nobody higher than him.
Real
And
life.
so he can talk to anybody, through anybody, for anybody, it's and realizing that it doesn't always have to be like a direct phone call or phone line to him for you to understand, like, oh damn, bro, I need to switch back into shape, or like I need to do this, or I need to stop doing that. And it's just really maturing in that aspect of realizing like he's everywhere.
100%. We're all each and every single one of us are vessels of God. Whether you're a believer or not, I feel like you can be a vessel, right? He talks to people. I mean, he created all this. Nothing that happens is a mistake.
Yeah.
So there's even like, I don't know, it's weird. Like sometimes I remember when Coach E passed. Coach E
Mm-hmm.
was one of Shelby's coaches. He coached along with my dad. When he passed, I think we were playing up at Amador, and there was the sun like just beamed through the clouds, and it's one of those ones where you can kind of see like the outline, and it's like so perfect, like something you'd see on like National Geographic or something. It's like, bro, he is literally watching us right now,
Yeah.
and I think, I don't know, there's just so many different like you see God in all kinds of different shapes and sizes, right?
Yeah.
And it's important for us to not put a limit on him doing that as well. Like, don't think if he wants it to happen, it's going to happen,
Mhm.
and if he doesn't, it won't. And
Yeah.
understanding that that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, this was as good an episode as we've had, Shelby. I'm really glad we got to get you on.
Yeah. Thanks
Um,
for having me.
I
yeah,
appreciate you
it
sharing your story for sure.
Yeah.
Very inspirational. I appreciate that.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
yeah means a lot to me, especially bringing you on, being able to have this conversation. Me and Tyler both looking forward to hopefully seeing you sign,
Yeah.
God willing, next couple of
Yeah.
days. Um, But Tyler, I don't know if you got a quote for us today. You
Yeah,
got a little line.
I got
Let's
a little
hear it.
wrap up for you
Let's
guys. You
hear
know
it.
what I'm saying? Built to last wrap up idea. So, I go on and say, you were never just built to play a sport. You were built to persevere, to fall, to get up, fall again, and still walk forward with a purpose. Whether the game comes back or not, your identity is set. It's not in the stats or the spotlight. It's in the strength to surrender. That's what makes you built to last.
I love
Amen
it.
to that.
I love it, bro.
That's awesome.
So,
But yeah, we're gonna put a bow on it.
Yeah.
Good conversations. We appreciate all the support we've gotten. We continue to get. Hopefully, we can keep growing. Um, but yeah, just one more time, Shelby. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah.
We both appreciate it. Um,
Yeah.
Continue to go from here.
Yeah. Cruzy, you know, I'm always in your corner. JMO, you need anything now? You got my number. Give me a holler, bro.
appreciate that, man.
Hundred
Appreciate it.
percent.